Hello, today we are going to be talking about the Science Learning Center that I have put together today. Our first slide is going to be our topic for the Science Learning Center. I have picked physical science. It was a favorite of mine in school, and as I was going about this course, I felt like this was my favorite weeks that we did was learning about physical science, and all the activities were my favorite. So I felt that I could best recreate my Science Learning Center with physical science. The grade level we'll focus on is eighth grade. Eighth grade, I think, has a lot of physical science elements built into the standards, so I thought it would be fun to kind of have an older grade represented in my Science Learning Center. The NGSS address is at PS1, more specifically matter and its interactions. That is physical science 1, matter and its interactions for my SGSS standard. Our first activity is going to be periodic table coloring. This is an activity that we did in this course, and I really liked it. I feel like it was easy enough for everyone to follow, and it might be a great way to introduce the periodic table. And if someone has never seen it before, they'll have the directions. Students will receive a blank copy of the periodic table and a color guide at the group table that they can follow along to. Students will color in the periodic table. This will be an introduction into matter and what things are made up of. Again, this is a great introduction to the periodic table and matter. The cross-curricular that pairs with this activity is art. Not only will they be coloring, but they will be matching each element with their color family, which is something that is really big in art, is matching things up with their color family or the connecting colors. I also put in the Common Core Science Standard for the state of California, and that is 8.pt.7a. The next activity that we are going to be doing is reading an article and doing the activity that goes along with that. That is everyday compound or poison. The directions is we're going to read the article everyday compound or poison to test your skills if you know if the compound comes from the periodic table or is it a dangerous substance. This one I got off of a website that also has like a following activity for the students to do, so I think that would also be fun, but also just reading the article and having students know the difference between compounds that are actually in the periodic table and something that could kill them, that could harm them. The cross curricular is English. The students will be reading the article and must comprehend what it is telling them to complete the activities. The California Common Core Science Standard is 8.pt.7a. Our third activity for the Science Learning Center is learning about Henning Brand, which was a scientist. The directions for this activity are students will watch a historical video on Henning Brand. After, they will complete an experiment where they will separate sand, salt, and water to mimic the early scientific way of extraction. They will see how Henning Brand accidentally discovered phosphorus, an element that glows in the dark. I have attached the YouTube link for this activity, so we will watch the activity and then we will do the experiment. The cross curricular for this activity is history. Not only will the students be researching, or they will just be researching a historical figure, which happens to be one of our first modern scientists of our time. The California Common Core Standard is 8.pt.3b. And our last activity will be the States of Matter movement activity. The directions for this is the students will be acting out the properties of matter by using physical education movements to replay what particles do when in liquid, solid, and gas. Some students will be assigned to act like protons, some as neutrons, and some as electrons. So when they are recreating what a solid looks like, students will be close together, trying to move, but they are so tight it is hard for them to. The liquid, they can walk around, link each other by the arms, but they're going different directions. It's a little more room, but still not as much room as a gas. And when they are recreating gas, they will be running around like crazy, how particles and gas are. This activity can also be modified by having students recreate a compound from the periodic table. So an example of this one will be 3 students can recreate H2O by 1 having the oxygen part and then 2 people playing hydrogen. The cross-curricular and standard for this activity is physical education. Not only the students would be moving their bodies to show the movement of the compounds and the movement of liquids, gases, and solids. There's 2 California Common Core standards for this activity. It is 8.pt.3d. Students know the states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas depend on molecular motion. And then the second one is 8.pt.3.e. Students know that in solids, the atoms are closely locked in position and can only vibrate. In liquids, the atoms and molecules are more loosely connected and can collide with and move past one another. And in gases, the atoms and molecules are free to move independently, colliding frequently. And that is it for this presentation. I do have an exit ticket, but I was not able to put this into the presentation of the Canva without, I couldn't be able to present the record myself presenting with the doc, so that will be at the end. I want to thank you for listening, and I will also have the picture at the end of the exit ticket and the self-assessment rubric that I will be having the students fill out. What it is they'll put their name and their period, and then one side will have what activity it is. The middle section will be what they got from the activity, what they enjoyed, what they learned, and then the last part of the self-assessment rubric is a teacher check, which will either be me marking off with a pen or a stamp that I have seen them complete the activity and that it is to my liking. And at the very end, the exit ticket will be something that they learned today and their favorite part or just anything that they really enjoyed from the day. And that is it. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed. And I want to say thank you for teaching this amazing course. I really loved it, and I cannot wait to be a future science teacher.